Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Everton show at the end of a 7-day period that promised so much but ultimately delivered only heartache for Evertonians. Our visits to Anfield and Wembley ended in defeat, but the Everton way is to dust ourselves down, take it on the chin and bounce back as best we can. Graham Stewart is alongside me this week. Diamond, where do we go from here?
Well, you said it yourself, Darren. We dust ourselves down and we get on with it. It's all we can do. We've got 4 important Premier League games to play, 12 points. And if we get as many points as we possibly can, who knows where that's going to take us in the Barclays Premier League. It's important position-wise for the football club to make sure that we have a good end to the season. And the players have just got to keep going. That's what it's all about. You know, you've got to take disappointment on the chin at some times, but ultimately you've got to bounce back and prove your worth.
Absolutely. Plenty more analysis to come from Graham in this week's programme. And as usual, we've got plenty more besides.
All morning I thought it was going to be our day with obviously the bad luck we had in the Capital One semi-final with the ref, and you think these things are even out, but it's just not been our day.
Excellent performance, 3 great goals, and you know, he's now putting the finishing touches to his performances, which is getting goals, creating opportunities, and you know, that's the type of player he is.
You know, you just go home with a smile on your face every day because you know you change someone's life for the better, and it's so enjoyable the work we do. But you're right, you know, some people need very much that support, and you know we definitely give it to them.
He said, "Why don't you go down?" I said, "Oh no, I'll go downhill, do you?" So I went down, and it was one of the most amazing things that's ever happened to me in my life. I couldn't believe it.
Well, Roberto Martinez brought some happy Wembley memories with him when he joined Everton from Wigan Athletic. He steered the Latics, of course, to one of the most unlikely final victories of all time just 3 years ago. But last Saturday, he could only watch in agony as Everton's dream was dashed in stoppage time.
I think the whole big footballing occasion, we were at our very best as a football club. I think the fans were magnificent, allowed us to have that strength of mind that you need into these big occasions. The first half, we couldn't be ourselves. I think it took a period for us to feel comfortable, and we allowed Manchester United too much space. But we saw a real strength. The mentality allowed us to dig in and to stay strong in that period, and we created the best 2 opportunities in the half. We were very unfortunate in those 2 1v1s from Rome, but the transformation in the second half was what makes the injury time goal a massive blow. I thought the second half performance was full of belief, full of a winning mentality, full of intensity. We were creating opportunities. We look at team that we had a real threat. The penalty is an unfortunate action, but even then we never stopped driving and believing and creating chances. We scored a goal, and clearly I felt that we were going to be the stronger team going into the extra time, and that's why it fell that the Manchester United winner came in the wrong time and in a very undeserved time. I don't think we had any bit of luck, and it's frustrating because the players, the reaction in the second half and the performance in the second half deserve a lot more than that.
On another given day, Big Ron could have had 5 there, couldn't he? He kept plugging away, it just wasn't happening for him.
No, but obviously when we faced Manchester United, we got him in great positions. I think today he took advantage of those, and the first 2 actions in the first half were his typical power and pace, and allowing him to get into those great opportunities. I thought the second half he was very handful. The ball stuck and allowed us to get real good situations from him. I thought Ross, and when Gerard Deulofeu came in, took advantage of that hold-up play from Rome, and overall I thought the team, the way we performed in the second half was an incredible reaction from what happened in the first half, and it's unfortunate that in football sometimes you don't get what you deserve.
Well, the general consensus of opinion at Wembley last Saturday was that Everton's spirited second half display certainly deserved at least an extra time crack at Manchester United. The Blues were excellent in the second 45 minutes, and no more so than Tom Cleverley, who was absolutely gutted that the players just couldn't deliver for the magnificent travelling Blue Army.
Yeah, it's a real bitter way to lose it. Thought we were magnificent in the second half, showed real character, created plenty of opportunities to win it ourselves, and then a bit of luck for them near the end, and Marshall was clinical, finishing, devastated us obviously.
Yeah, did you sense that it was going to be our day? I mean, we missed the penalty, but then rallied and scored the equaliser.
I think all morning I thought it was going to be our day with obviously the bad luck we had in the Capital One semi-final with the ref, and you think these things are even out, but it's just not been our day. I mean, and another day Rom could have 2 or 3, but listen, we're all in it together. No one's pointing any fingers. He's been fantastic for us all season, and he's a great player. So yeah, just it's a bit fresh now. I'm obviously just devastated that I thought it was our day, like you said, and especially when we equalised, and it's not turned out that way.
There's no doubt about the togetherness in the group, though, in that second half, the way everybody fought for each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's magnificent. I mean, as a club as well, everyone was fighting. The fans were magnificent, even though we've not been playing as well for them recently. They really sucked the ball down towards that end, and like I said, any other day that's an Everton win. Things just haven't been going that for us this season, and yeah, it's obviously going to be a tough couple of days now, but can't feel too sorry for ourselves. We've got to finish the league strong and look to next season.
You've been in situations like this with other clubs. How much does it make you appreciate those Evertonians? They were in the second half, as you say, they were unbelievable, weren't they?
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, it really gives the players a lift. Honestly, when you've got that 35,000-40,000 toffees sucking the ball down that end, honestly, it definitely gives us that extra belief, extra yard, and we're just devastated. We couldn't give them a fantastic day and ourselves a memorable day, and yeah, it's just it really hurts, this one.
Tom Cleverley clearly distraught there, Diamond, understandably. Anything could have happened in extra time, really. Manchester United undoubtedly shaded the first half. We had the better of the second half, so probably had it gone to an extra half hour, the momentum would have been with Everton.
I think we were certainly in the ascendancy. I mean, Manchester United were pretty much hitting us on the counter-attack. That was the best they could offer at the time, but we were certainly the team that were dominating large chunks of that second half. And you know, as Tom said there, you know, the Evertonians behind the goal were, you know, giving them that extra yard, trying to suck the ball in. But really, unfortunately, it just wasn't to be.
Tom played well, didn't he?
Tom did play well, yeah, along with most of the players in the second half. Disappointing first half, if I'm honest. I thought we'd have come out the traps a little bit quicker after what had happened at Anfield, if I'm honest. But no, I mean, they recovered well, and as I say, just wasn't going to be our day, unfortunately.
Couldn't have done much more, could they, in that second period? Well, ahead of last weekend's semi-final, the club worked really hard to ensure that regardless of the outcome, the supporters would have an occasion to remember. We even hauled the Goodison Park fan zone all the way down to Wembley. On the day, the Evertonians were simply terrific, and this is just a flavour of the atmosphere created by all the Blues.
It's April the 23rd, 2016, and for the 26th time in our history, Everton Football Club are in the semi-final of the FA Cup. Come on, you Blues!
Oh, Everton, we love you.
Everton! And the Blues!
It's a grand old team to play for.
Evertonians, here in their numbers, here in their thousands. Minutes remain, joy for Evertonians. The writing's on the wall, in bloody tears, as all my fears. I'll grab you on the neck, I'll bite your
I've just gone through all the emotions again.
I know. They didn't disappoint us, did they? They never do. I knew we were going to take over the place. That was for certain. We were down relatively early on the Saturday morning, down to the fan zone area, just by Wembley way there, and it was dominated by Blues.
The fans could not have done much more, could they?
No, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, you go to a semi-final, you want to have a good day out and enjoy yourselves, and the Evertonians were there in full force. We knew they would be, and they were in full voice, and, you know, you feel desperately sorry for them, as you know, along with the players and everybody connected with the club, that we haven't got another visit in a few weeks' time.
Fans were absolutely distraught after the game, weren't they?
Well, they were, we all are, aren't we? But look, we dust ourselves down and we go again.
We go again, that's for sure. And that's it for part one of this week's programme. After a short break, we'll bring you one of the best technical hat-tricks seen at Goodison Park for many years. We'll also bring you some Everton ladies action, and we look ahead to our designated Everton in the Community Day on Saturday. Welcome to part two of the Everton show. Now, the Everton under-21s have been in terrific form of late, with Kieran Dowell in particular showing just why he is so richly coveted down at Finch Farm. Well, on Monday night, they were at it again. Everton beat Leicester City 3-1 at Goodison Park, and each and every one of the goals was a stunner from the talented feet of young Mr. Dowell.
Kieran Dowell put Leicester to the sword with a stunning hat-trick of left-foot strikes. Everton, and Dowell in particular, were quickly into their stride at Goodison and took the lead after just 9 minutes when neat midfield passing allowed the 18-year-old to collect the ball, stride forward and unleash a sensational chip which rendered visiting goalie Ben Hamer almost motionless. Dowell was far from done though. The midfielder scored his and his team's second with a powerful strike after good work from Gethin Jones on the counter. He barely broke stride before dispatching the ball past the hapless Hamer. Leicester pull one back on the stroke of half-time when Michael Caine's deflected effort found its way past Matthias Huelt. But Everton resumed their dominance in the second half, and after Tom Davis had fed the ball forward, Dowell lined up another sumptuous effort which sailed beyond the goalie and into the back of the net to complete a remarkable treble. Dowell, understandably, was a happy man afterwards.
That's 4 wins in a row, so we had a really good month. It's a good way to end the season at home. I've got one more game against Chelsea, so looking to finish on a win as well.
Obviously, how great was it having the crowd there tonight as well, playing at Goodison once again?
Yeah, even though it was only for Bones, you could hear them, had an effect on you. So it was good to have a big crowd, yeah.
And like you said, Chelsea next week, looking to end the season on a high?
Definitely, yeah, that's the aim. We can't go any higher, but we just want to finish as many points as we can.
His first goal was worth coming tonight alone. Excellent performance, 3 great goals, and he's now putting the finishing touches to his performances, which is getting goals, creating opportunities, and that's the type of player he is.
And the first half performance, you must have been pleased with that. We took our chances.
Yeah, delighted with the first half performance up until sort of the last 10 minutes of the second half, where I felt we got a little bit sloppy. I felt we didn't move the ball as quickly, and it became a little bit too easy for us, and they capitalised on that, and they got a deflected goal. So I wasn't best pleased at half time, and I told the lads that you can never take your foot off the gas in this game at any level. You've got to keep driving, keep your standards high, and I felt at 2-0 we got a little bit sloppy, but we put that right at half time, and the second half nothing really happened for half an hour, and Kieran gets the goal out of nothing, and then we're in full control again. Totally dominated when we got the third, so it was game over.
Diamond, it's something for a young player to score a hat-trick at Goodison Park, but for each and every goal to be from outside the penalty area, that's something else.
It certainly is. Absolutely stunning. All 3 goals. Different in their own ways, but every one of them technically superb. The first one is out of this world, by the way. Really, really good. I mean, I'm just watching it there, and I didn't even think he was going to do it. So certainly the keeper wouldn't have had a chance. But, Kieran's probably looking at the fact that he's seen Callum Connolly and Tom Davis make the debuts, and he'll be chomping at the bit, and I think he deserves his chance.
If he scores a hat-trick at Goodison Park, does that suggest that he is ready?
I think so. Certainly when you see the quality of the strikes there, and it's not just a one-off. I mean, he's been scoring goals lately anyway. Clearly a very gifted left foot, a hungry young man, looks very confident in himself as well. So I will be very, very surprised if Roberto doesn't give him an opportunity.
Kieran's in great nick, and so are the under-21s. And also in decent form so far in their own embryonic campaign are the Everton ladies. The WSL 2 fixture list has been a bit stop-start thus far this season, but the girls in blue have made a solid start and recorded a comfortable 3-0 victory against Watford at Widnes last Sunday.
I think first half we didn't really play at the pace that we wanted to, and we were a little bit sloppy in possession. We gave the ball away a little bit too often for our liking and for our standards. So we obviously went in 1-0 ahead, but we felt that we certainly had another few gears to go up, and that was certainly the message at half time. You know, we were so on top of the game, but really you're going to need to turn that dominance into, you know, goals really. And so it was a super response, obviously, second half, and really pleased.
We want to get goals, so obviously, yeah, we were disappointed that we didn't get more considering the amount of chances we had in the first half. So I think it's important that we have to be very clinical and ruthless now when we're in the final third and really take our opportunities. It was a great ball crossed by Kel, you know, good awareness that she looked up and seen me and played me in. I mean, she did all the hard work. All I had to do was kind of slot it in. So like I said, it's always nice to score, but most importantly, you know, we won the game, we got 3 points, so I'm really happy about that.
Draws are no good to us. You know, we've got to go and want to push for the victories, and as I say, now pleasing, you know, sort of 2 victories out of the first 3. You know, of course we'd like 3 out of the first, but it now gives us that momentum to now go and build on for next week's game. And if we can build on the good parts that we had today and take them into next week, then again we'll be looking forward to another real good performance.
Graham, as I mentioned there in the introduction to that piece of film, it is an embryonic league table for the ladies, but they're second after a few games, and that's all they can do.
All they can do, yeah, absolutely. We're in a good position. Just got to keep pushing on now and start winning games, keep winning games of football, because as Andy said there in his interview, draws aren't enough. Got to keep pushing, got to keep winning games of football. And 3 good goals from the girls as well.
That's a great work ethic to have, isn't it? Don't go out there and get a draw. A draw's no good, even away from home. If we want promotion, we've got to get some 3-point
You've got to be positive, yeah. You've got to be positive about yourself and back yourselves to push forward and score goals and you know, just make sure we're nice and solid at the back as well. It's like, it doesn't matter whether you're a ladies' side or you know, the senior professionals. You know, the work ethic is exactly the same. You try and do the right things at the right times.
A good start to a season is so important because you could be gathering nuts for May, couldn't you?
Well, of course, and you know, a good start's vitally important for confidence as well. You get on a roll and you just feel like anything you do is going to come off for you. So, you know, keep going, girls, and hopefully we get that promotion, because that's what we want from them.
Absolutely, great start for the ladies. Well, this coming Saturday is our designated Everton in the Community Day. That's when we pay homage to the terrific work done by every single contributor to the official charity that makes us all very proud to be blue. Steve Johnson is an amputee football legend with 130 England caps to his name. He's also the Everton in the Community Disability Manager, and he's looking forward to the celebration on Saturday.
It's really important because it can highlight and showcase the fantastic work that Everton in the community do. They've got so many different projects that you know, deal with local issues in the local community, and you know, it really involves everybody within the local community in the football club, which is fantastic.
When the work that you and your colleagues do is described as life-changing, it's no exaggeration, Steve, is it?
Without a doubt it is, yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I manage the disability projects, and you know, you just go home with a smile on your face every day because you know, you change someone's life for the better, and it's so enjoyable, the work we do. But you're right, you know, some people, you know, need very much that support, and you know, we definitely give it to them.
1 or 2 activities going on in and around Goodison Park on Saturday to showcase what you do?
Yeah, there's lots of different activities going on in and around the community. We've got over 60 projects, so just a few of them will be highlighted at the weekend. I think our Down syndrome team are going to be there doing some work, so that'll be good.
The enthusiasm of the Down syndrome team, I've met them at the awards evenings. It's infectious, isn't it?
Very much so, and you know, I love working with that group because you're right, they're brilliant. The way they look at life and the way they, you know, just enjoy themselves so much. It's fantastic to see, and they're really passionate about the football as well, which is great.
And when you hear that Evertonians are proud to be blue because of the work that Everton and the community do, it must make you feel very proud.
It is important work that we do, and you're right, it does make us feel ever so proud and feel, you know, really strong, you know, affinity to the club kind of thing, really. And it's great that people recognise the great work we do, and it just makes us strive to do even more, really.
I know you won somewhere in the region of 130 international caps, Steve. Do you still put the boots on and have a little go yourself when you can?
Yeah, I do. I mean, actually, the cup semi-final last week, I went to Ireland on the Friday night, played Saturday morning for Everton amputees against Ireland and Man City, and then flew over at lunchtime to the semi-final kind of thing, you know. So, yeah, I still got my boots on, not as fit as I used to be, but...
Still putting the ball in the back of the net?
Now and again, like, yeah, when I get up there. I get a nosebleed to get up that far at the moment, but I've had a fantastic career, winning World Cups and, World Player of the Year and stuff like that, and I've really enjoyed it, and, through losing my leg through playing football, I didn't think those opportunities were going to be there for me, but, if I could go back, I wouldn't change it, kind of thing, really. I wouldn't want my leg back, really, because the life I've had, it's been absolutely brilliant. I've really enjoyed it, and now I've got a dream job at Everton where, as I say, you go home every day, knowing that you change someone's life for the better, and it's absolutely fantastic.
Diamond, you and I have met Steve Johnson many, many times. What an inspirational figure he is.
Very much so. I mean, he's one of a number of people who do some terrific work for our community, but Steve's outstanding. Brilliant career. Unfortunately, obviously lost his leg in a football-related incident as well. So, but the work he's put back into Everton in the community is absolutely phenomenal. And the sides, we've got a number of wheelchair sides. We've got the Down syndrome side as well, and a lot of that is down to Steve.
He's in the English Football Hall of Fame. He's alongside Stanley Matthews, Nat Lofthouse, Gazza, Gary Lineker. I'd be telling everybody that, but he's so humble.
Well, he is. He's a very humble man, and he just keeps his head down, and, his passion is seeing these kids go out and perform and have a vehicle to go out there and show that there's plenty of life in them. Even if you have these accidents, it's an opportunity to still go out and actively be involved in football.
You and I have had the pleasure, the privilege to be invited to be present at the Disability Everton in the Community Football Awards, and what a lovely night that is.
It is a brilliant night. I mean, last year was funny. I mean, there's some characters out there as well. I mean, some of the Down syndrome kids are absolutely stunning. They're so full of confidence, and they're ready to get up, and they show their awards off, and it's a great night for them all.
And the coaches need some credit as well, because they put a lot of work in. We saw Tim Howard on the piece of film playing wheelchair football. Yeah. That's week in, week out.
It is, yeah. I mean, there's proper games going on week in, week out, as you say, and they do so much work. Not just Steve, all his team as well, and the football club back them as best we possibly can.
And Steve was telling me all the players who play for his teams enjoy themselves, but they're also very competitive. Once they've got that blue jersey on, they want to win.
Yeah, that's the message that came across at the awards night, that these boys are there because, they're fighting for the cause. They wear that shirt with every bit of passion as we expect our first team to do. So keep going, boys. Brilliant.
They are all an absolute credit to Everton Football Club. And what a lovely way to round off the second segment of this week's show. You've just got enough time to put the kettle on before we come back with our big interview slot. And this week, it's the amazing story of the man who could and should have had it all. You'll enjoy listening to the forthright views of Tony Kay. Welcome back. Now, back in 1963, Everton were English football's top dogs. The likes of Brian LeBone, Roy Vernon and Alex Young had steered the good ship Goodison to the First Division title, and a pivotal member of the midfield engine room was Tony Kay. Tony Kay had everything and was considered a shoo-in for the World Cup squad of 1966. Sadly, his world came crashing down when he was accused, then tried, then convicted of betting against his own team. His career was over, his dreams were shattered, and Evertonians were left shell-shocked. Incredibly, though, Tony Kay doesn't look back on his aborted stab at stardom with any bitterness. He's just a lovely guy who loved playing football.
I had a good time at the Isles. I was being a Sheffield boy as well, so I knew everybody and knew everything. Well, I knew everything. And yeah, I enjoyed it there. It was a good apprenticeship. Learned one or two things.
You were a teenager, as you say, when you made your debut in the First Division. Did you take to it quite quickly, Tony, or did it take you a while to find your feet?
It took me a while because I had a few problems with... The one whose place I took was a fella called Eddie Gannon, who was an Irish international. And he had a big long stride, and I used to think it was a wonderful place, so I had a big long stride. And when I went into the, mostly in the reserves, and occasionally in the first team, they dragged me in the office and said, "You'll have to cut your stride down, it's just ridiculous, go skipping and thing." So that's what I did, and I cut my stride down and consequently made more progress.
And in those days, of course, you could tackle, and tackle properly, and tackle hard.
Oh yes, yeah. There was a fallacy in those days that about 50-50 balls. It was never in my repertoire. That mine was 100%. There's no 50-50, 100 or nothing, and sometimes it amounted to nothing. But there you go.
You took a few whacks as well as give a few out, though, didn't you?
You'd be surprised the whacks. I'll give you a little tale about the whacks I took. I was playing Everton versus Sheffield Wednesday just before I came in, and the Golden Vision, who we all love and respect dearly, went over the top to me. Didn't wear pads, and we had plastic studs, and they were about an inch and a half long, and one finished up in my shin bone. And I went down and I looked up and there was Alex, and I went, you better go and play in the defence a bit, my friend, otherwise you and I are going to have words. Consequently, once I got transferred and we got introductions in the snooker room here, I introduced everybody, and there was Young, and he said to me, when shook his head, and went, what's the matter? He went, don't know how you did it. I said, what? He said, I thought I'd broken your leg. He honestly said that. I thought I'd broken your leg, but whether it's deliberate or not, doesn't matter. And I went, yeah. So it was a bit lively the first few practice games, and that were a bit tasty. But we're very good friends now, in actual fact.
Sheffield Wednesday to Everton was a big move, very big move at the time.
Indeed.
How did it come about, Tony?
Well, it came about, my first knowledge of it was reading it in the newspapers. And then being told by the manager then, who was Vic Buckingham, that my friend was coming to see me. And I said, who's my friend? And he said, Harry Catterick. I went, I don't know. Is it about the stuff in the newspapers? And he said, yes, it is. So Harry came and explained everything. He'd like me to move there and this, that and the other. And I said, I'm not interested. I just moved out to live here. I'm not really bothered. I'm a Sheffield boy. He went, anyway, leave it with you. Off he went. About another week later, Buckingham comes in again. He said, he's back. I said, oh, all right. And he said, hello, have you thought about it? I said, yeah. I said, I'm not changing my mind. He went, oh. He said, well, I'll tell you. I'll lay it out to you. I know what you're getting here. You're getting £30 a week. I said, yeah. He knew that because he'd said it. He said, I'll double that. He said, no, we'll give you £1 1,000 over 20,000, £1 or £2 1,000 over this, that. Anyway, it went on like that. And I said, I'm not really bothered. And then he said, and I'll give you £2 in cash. I went, oh, all right then. And that was me. I went and funnily enough, the first week I went there, we played 2 games in 1 week, so the crowd bonus was up, you know, and Lavie and Gordon West were quite funny duo, you know. They went out first and we were having a look around the crowd and said, we're all right this week, boys, we've got a good bonus with all this crowd. And my first week went from being £30 plus bonus at Sheffield Wednesday, it was about £150 in the first week. So then I thought to myself, maybe I've made a good move. And a good move. And then from then it was just wonderful. It just went on to success.
How enjoyable was it to play in that wonderful team of 62,
oh, it was
63?
They were all good fellas, you know. They all liked one another. Although it was called the Millionaires team. The players themselves were they were all ordinary lads, all working class lads, which was that era. It's not like that anymore. And everybody got on with everybody. Just went out and had a drink, went out with the wife and got together, and it was really, really excellent camaraderie.
The 1966 FA Cup final, Tony, Everton versus Sheffield Wednesday, was that the toughest point of the whole affair?
Well, it's a bit difficult to look at that and think, well, I could have been on that side, or I could have been on that side, and no matter which one won or lost, I'd have been there. And it was a bit difficult to accept.
Then it was a while before you came back to Goodison, Tony, wasn't it?
Young asked me to go to his benefit, and I never did, and somebody else asked me, and I never bothered. And then this centenary thing came up, and the people who I was working for at the time in Blackheath, I had a sports club in Blackheath, football club. He said, why don't you go down? I said, oh no, go down, it'll do you good. So I went down, and it was one of the most amazing things that's ever happened to me in my life. I couldn't believe it.
You came on last with Dave Watson,
I couldn't believe that as well. They put me in and Dave Watson, was it? Is it?
Yeah.
He came out last and I came out there, and I went out and I couldn't believe it. It was just to see people cheer, and I went, oh. And one of the very few times in my life I had tears in my eyes.
The Evertonians don't forget the people that do a job for the club.
This is the wonderful thing about, I discussed this with Bex, of course. We're on Twitter and things with Evertonians and Sheffield Wednesday people, and there's no comparison to the Sheffield people as opposed to what Evertonians think and do. I can't believe that people still come up to me in the street and go, I can't remember it, but my dad does and his dad does, and I go like that. How can they? One of the instances, I was in one of these pubs, I think it was the Brick, when I first came back, and it was full of Evertonians, and I thought, well, I was quite there. And that's where I met Rooney's dad in there, having a drink, funny enough. And I went in there, and these tall fellas, about 70, twins they were, come up to me and kiss me and cuddle me and went, oh, it's so nice to see you. And I can't believe people still, because I'm not a sentimentalist. So
shows how good a player you were, Tony.
Oh, well, that's another thing I never register. I still can't register that. I still look at some things and I go, I was never that good, because when I was a kid, I was deficient in so many things. I didn't have skill. I didn't have passing capabilities. I didn't have height. I didn't have anything. But because of what I wanted to do, I endured and spent hours passing the ball and jumping, and I did everything. I used to run a bus. Outside my house was a bus stop, and there was about a 200 gap between the next bus stop. And when I was 15, I used to wait for the bus to come, and I used to wait, and then it starts up, and I'd start running, and I'd hold my breath until I got past the bus, and I go, and I think in the late years, I think it stood me in good stead with stamina and things like that. And I used to sit in a bath full of cold water. And my mother used to say, are you mad? I went, why? She said, it's freezing cold water. I mean, I'm testing my stamina. Absolutely little lunatic. But there you go.
I could listen to Tony Kay for hours, because his is a football tale that's got a little bit of everything, triumph and tragedy, and of course, you know Tony well.
Yeah, Tony lives my neck of the woods, so I bump into him every so often, but a real character. Yeah, no doubt about it. But first and foremost, a terrific player.
I'd love to have seen him play. I'm always struck by the sense of injustice of it all. Tony Kay, one little bet in a game that he was man of the match in, and the whole lot comes crumbling down.
I know, a little bit harsh. Banned for life. I mean, that's too much in my opinion. I mean, it's a mistake. We all make mistakes. But he paid the ultimate price, because he probably would have played in the World Cup final as well.
Absolutely. And the 66 FA Cup final.
Of course, yeah.
Interesting training routine, running after buses.
Do you know what? I've done it myself. Seriously, when I was a kid, pretty much the same. Well, no, you're joking me. I'd have missed it. I'll tell you that if I ran for it now. But no, I did it when I was a kid. I had a bus stop that end, pretty much equidistant distance away. So I'd walk out my mum and dad's house, look that way. If the bus was at that, I'd launch after it. And it was a good test. Sometimes I won, sometimes I lost.
The old-fashioned ways can be the best, can't they?
Yeah, they was good. But I mean, you used to do things like that. You used to run home from school. Say, right, I'm going to run 2 lampposts, walk 1 lamppost, run 3 lampposts, walk 1 lamppost. Just silly little things like that. But it was all a way of just keeping yourself fit.
Terrific guy, Tony Kay. But I just want to change track completely, Diamond. It's been a pivotal week in the history of this city, with the result of the verdict that the Hillsborough families have waited so long for.
Yeah, 27 years is way, way too long. But ultimately, the verdict that certainly the families wanted, the whole city wanted, unlawful killings. And certainly, you know, their efforts over the last 27 years have been fully vindicated now.
It's scandalous that it's taken that long.
It is. It's a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. But there's been rights, there's been wrongs. We know where the wrongs are, and we certainly know where the rights are.
And every single Evertonian can be very proud of the way that we've stood shoulder to shoulder with Liverpool and the families from day one.
Of course, yeah. I mean, look, at the end of the day, we're huge rivals. But when a disaster like that happens, you stand toe to toe, you know, you lock arms with each other, and we all push in the right direction. And, you know, we're proud as a football club to stand next to them through the 27 years that they've had to put up with these lies and deceit from the South Yorkshire police. And we're as happy as probably they are that, you know, they've got the right verdict now.
And of course, we've attended virtually every service at Anfield. You did a reading, and when you get the likes of Kenny Dalglish and Aldo and Jamie Carragher thanking you for it, it makes it all worthwhile, doesn't it?
Yeah, of course it does. I mean, you know, as players, as much as we kick lumps out of each other on the park, you know, off the park, we recognise the situation and how important it is. I mean, we're all pretty good mates off the park anyway, so, you know, you look after your own, don't you?
It's been a good week. And that takes us to the three-quarter point of this week's show. In the fourth and final part, we'll hear from young Matty Pennington, and we'll look ahead to Saturday's Barclays Premier League game with Bournemouth at Goodison Park. Welcome back to the final segment of this week's Everton show. Now, there's a world of difference between the changing rooms at the training ground of Walsall Football Club and the luxurious dressing rooms at Wembley. But it was a switch that Matty Pennington had to take in his stride last week when his loan spell at the Saddlers was ended, so he could join the Everton FA Cup semi-final squad.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind, to be honest. Started the week off last weekend playing at Walsall, Saturday and Tuesday, and then got called back, obviously, because of injuries and suspensions, and was on the bench at Wembley, which was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it, really. Great experience despite the result. So yeah, it's been a bit crazy.
Did you think it could be on the cards when Stonesy got a knock and Jags got injured and Ramiro got sent off?
Yeah, I was watching the game at home. I was discussing with my parents, can I be called back? I didn't really know, to be honest. But then I got the call later on and I was back straight away.
But you've enjoyed yourself at Walsall, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been there a few weeks and played 5 games, Saturday, Tuesday. I've had a great time just getting some minutes on the pitch, and I feel good for it now.
Makes a real difference, doesn't it, when you're playing at that level? It's a step up for you, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It's competitive football, and it's what I enjoy doing, and I've had a good time there.
Part of the reason the gaffer was confident enough to bring you back, obviously, was that you were up to speed with match fitness.
Yeah, that's the idea of the loan. It got me some match fitness, some games, and quick succession games as well. So I feel good for it now as well.
You come back to an under-21 side in sparkling form, haven't you?
Yeah, they're in great form. Another good win tonight. They're keeping the momentum going.
And a hat-trick for Kieran Dowell against Leicester City, and not just a hat-trick, Matty, but 3 crackers.
Yeah, he was superb tonight. He was different class, and we know what Kieran can do, and he showed it tonight for us. So it's brilliant for him.
What's the aim for you now till the end of the season?
To try and get pushed for our first team and get in the first team. See what happens. I'll keep trying, keep working hard, and see where that takes me.
Graham, what's going through Matty Pennington's mind when he finishes training at Walsall, gets a tap on the shoulder and says, you've got to go to Wembley, son, you're needed for the FA Cup semi-final squad?
Oh, pure excitement, I would imagine. I mean, what a phone call that is. Look, you know, sorry, you've had a great time at Walsall and I'm sure you've enjoyed yourself, as he said in the interview there, but, you know, what an opportunity to go back and at least be part of the squad for the semi-final.
He has his tracksuit on. Then he goes onto the bench, doesn't get onto the field of play, but the whole day, how will that help him?
Immensely, I would imagine, and I'm sure it's given him the desire and the hunger to go and get a bit more of it, because they're the atmospheres you want. You want to be in FA Cup semi-finals, ideally in an FA Cup final, but hopefully in the future that'll be there for Matty. But more importantly, it's the experience he's gained at Walsall and playing some game time and playing real competitive football twice a week. You know, and I think, as you mentioned there, Darren, is, but you know, one of the main reasons I would imagine Roberto pulled him back from the loan spell, because he was up to speed. Hibbo, we know, has done a terrific job at right back over the years, but he'd only played 45 minutes of competitive football, so it would have been a big ask for Hibbo. But Matty was right up to speed if needed.
Do these last 4 games of the Premier League give the gaffer an ideal opportunity to give the likes of Matty and Kieran Dowell a quick go?
I think they do, yeah. I mean, you know, I don't know which way Roberto's going to look at it. I mean, I think it's important for us as a football club that we get back on track and we start winning games of football. But ultimately, you know, you want to see these young lads given a go as well, and they deserve it.
They certainly are an exciting crop of young footballers. Right, let's really start the countdown now to the first ever league visit to Goodison Park of AFC Bournemouth. The Cherries' rise from the lower echelons of the Football League to the English game's top table has been little short of unbelievable, but under the guidance of Eddie Howe, they are clearly here to stay. Joel Robles has fond memories of playing against them in the FA Cup. He saved a penalty, of course, and he's looking forward to locking swords with them again.
Yeah, happy memory, but it's different. And the Premier League and the Copa, the FA Cup is different situation, but now play at home, we need to enjoy the game and focus for the 3 points at home.
What have you made to Bournemouth this season, in their first season in the Premier League?
Yeah, The last game against Bournemouth away in the Premier 3-3. Remember the last moment. I think Bournemouth is good team, play very well, and it's hard team. But one thing is important: play at home, your house, and the most important thing is focus for the 3 points.
And just look forward now, a few weeks to the end of the season. You will go away for your summer break, and then you will come back at the beginning of next season with a different mentality, knowing that it's your position.
No, I think for me it's simple. Now finish good the end of the season. For next season, I don't know what is the situation, but for me nothing changed. I come here for training good, enjoy, happy for play for Everton, of course, and that's it. Doesn't matter sign a new keeper. Or for me, no, it's important. This situation for me now is the most important thing. I am goalkeeper for Everton, enjoy for Everton, and that's it.
Joel Robles has done smashing, Graham, hasn't he?
He has been outstanding, Joel, in a lot of the games. Helps that he's got some match sharpness under his belt as well. But he commands his box pretty well, and some of the saves he's made this season has been really, really good as well, and I'm sure that's boosted his confidence.
He's been terrific when he's been forced with a one-on-one.
And there's been a few of them as well, hasn't there? I mean, you know, that he's done terrific, but he's huge. I mean, if you go up, up close to Joel, he's a big lad, so he spreads himself very well. Difficult goalkeeper to beat one-on-one.
What are you expecting from Bournemouth?
I mean, it's there. They can come into it relaxed. They know the pressure's on us, really and truly. We're at home. We've struggled at home, so they'll come here. They know they're safe. They can relax and play their football. They play some decent football under Eddie Howe. So, unfortunately for us, it's a nice place to play, Goodison Park at the moment for them.
Couldn't go through another 3-3 draw again.
Oh, dearie me! Don't remind me of that. I mean, we thought we'd won it, and then all of a sudden we'd lost it again, Daz. It was a horrible situation to be in. But we've got to put that right if we can. And I've said it's probably a nice time for Bournemouth to play us, but we've got to make sure it's difficult for them. That's the challenge for us now.
We could do with winning these last 2 home games, couldn't we?
Of course we have. We've got to send our fans off to the summer with 2 wins if we can, and show them that we're not going to lay down as a football club. We're going to battle back, bounce back, and be aggressive and play at the tempo that we did in that second half against United at Wembley.
Absolutely, 2 home games to go. Right, there's just time on this week's show to get the manager's take on the weekend game. This is how Roberto Martinez assessed the visit of Bournemouth to Goodison Park on Saturday, including a potential involvement for young Kieran Dowell, who we saw earlier.
I think it's showing that the way that he's ending the season is in a very impressive manner. Remember that Kieran got involved with the first team in pre-season and he looked ready at that time. Then he picked up an injury that it kept him out for a long time, and then it was the process of coming back into full fitness, and clearly in the last probably 6-7 weeks has been at his best level. So a real good example for other young players of how to use your talent and your attitude in order to earn a place in the first team, and clearly Kieran Dowell has done that in the last few displays.
With that in mind, do you believe he'll get an opportunity in the next few weeks, the remainder of the season?
Absolutely. I think he's earned it. He's someone that he always had high hopes, but he is not me making a decision. It's him earning that call, and that will always be rewarded at our football club. The way we've been working in the last 3 seasons is to make sure that the players get a clear program, a clear path, and if they master that program, they've been given an opportunity in the first team, and clearly Kieran probably is the best example of that.
And what do you make of Bournemouth's form going into Saturday's game?
Well, Bournemouth, they had a terrific season in that respect, because obviously getting promoted was a real achievement, but in the way that they adapted into life in the Premier League, achieving 41 points already is a very, very impressive return. They've been really clear in the way they want to play. I think they've been learning very, very quickly in the differences that the Premier League brings, and I think it's been a terrific season for Eddie Howe and Bournemouth, and I'm sure that they're going to carry on growing and achieving big things.
Graham, I want to ask you about the incredible football story that is Bournemouth Football Club, because back in 2009, Everton reached the FA Cup final. At the same time, Bournemouth finished 89th in the Football League, 4th from bottom in League Two, and we meet them on level terms on Saturday.
I know, it's an unbelievable story. What a turnaround for that football club. And credit must go to the owners, you know, to Eddie Howe, who's been a player and now the manager, so he knows Bournemouth inside out and the requirements of the people down there. But unbelievable story, and credit to them, because not only have they come up, you know, they're going to stay up for another year now at least, and they've got the finances that come into it as now, which will enable them to push on.
I was doing the Bournemouth pen pictures for Saturday's programme, and a lot of the players have been with Bournemouth through the rise. They've played in the lower leagues, which again is a lovely part of the story.
Again, and that helps, you know, because they've got a feel for the club. They've got a desire to get that club up into the Barclays Premier League, which they've done. And next year they've got the opportunity to go again, and as I say, you know, improve as a football club. And that's the great thing for these clubs who get promoted now. The finances are there for them to really give it a good go, whereas you were trying to hang on when you initially came up a few years ago. Now you really have got an opportunity to build as a football club.
It's a lovely story, but we want to beat them on Saturday afternoon. And that's it for another Everton show. We desperately wanted it to be a celebration this week, but it just wasn't to be. There are 4 Premier League fixtures to go now, and as we've alluded to in this week's show, there is no such thing as an Everton game that doesn't matter. Points make prizes in the Premier League these days, and we're hoping for a finish in a positive frame of mind. My thanks to the Diamond for all his input this week, and to all of you for watching. We'll be back next week with another Everton show.